Welcome back to the Dynasty Nerds YouTube page. I am Garret Price, and let's take a look at 4 players that are absolutely skyrocketing up my Dynasty rankings. As I mentioned in the open, I've got 4 guys that I want to give you that I'm ranking a lot higher than ADP is telling us they should be going. Let's start off at the wide receiver position, and let's look at a guy named Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin, look, we're trying to put him age-wise in the same category as Stephon Diggs and Devontae Adams, when in reality, he's about 2 to 3 years younger than a lot of those guys. New Cooper Kupp, all those guys. He's 2 to 3 years younger, so we still have some time left. And yes, we've had a bad taste in our mouth because he's never quite ascended to the level that we hoped after that monster rookie season. He's just been a really consistent low-end wide receiver 2, high-end wide receiver 3, which is still valuable. But I think this could be the year that he ascends into that high-end wide receiver 2 range. And the biggest reason is the change at quarterback. Jaden Daniels, excellent deep ball passer. That was one of the best things that we saw on tape from him. And where did we get a lot of struggle last year is just getting the ball to receivers. When we look at Sam Howell and how he was performing overall at getting the ball to his playmakers, he had one of the worst percentages of on-target throws, below 70%. So 3 out of every 10 times, he wasn't even getting a catchable ball. And that's not to mention that his targets were typically farther down the field than a lot of other players. So it wasn't a lot of good juju there for him. I think Terry McLaurin far outplays his ADP this year and over the next couple of years to really give you some good dynasty value at his landing spot. The ADP has Terry McLaurin going off the board as wide receiver 39. I have him at wide receiver 32. Let's go to the running back position. And if you've been listening to the Dynasty Nerd Show, these aren't going to be huge surprises to you, but I do have 2 players significantly higher than their ADP. The first one, a veteran running back that we've seen as high as running back 3 before, but he's fallen down a little bit in rankings and in ADP for a lot of people. ADP-wise right now, Najee Harris is going off the board as the 24th running back. I have him ranked as high as the 15th running back. One of the biggest reasons of this, it's because of his new offensive coordinator. Now, I know we don't love Arthur Smith typically, but every single season he's either been an offensive coordinator or a head coach, he has had a running back 1, except for one season, and that was the Tyler Algier year. Other than that, he's had a running back 1 every year. Even made Cordero Patterson a running back 1. And even in the year Algier didn't perform well, we know he way outperformed his ability, and they didn't even commit to him until partway through the season. So he was kind of a harder one to evaluate. But every other year, he's gotten somebody into that running back 1 range. We look at a guy like Najee Harris. He's playing for his contract, a new contract this year. And so chances are they're going to feed him the ball a ton because he's more than likely not on this team next year unless he plays incredibly well, balls out, and gets a new contract from the Steelers as well. So it's a real make or break year for him this year. And look, in the next 2 to 3 years, I think we look at a player like him skyrocketing up the boards, not just because of Arthur Smith, but because of Russell Wilson as well. You get these older quarterbacks, what do? They tend to check down more than a lot of other players do. That's why he got to running back 3 his rookie year, because Ben Roethlisberger was continually checking the ball down to Najee Harris. I think the receptions will be there. I think the yards will be there. Najee Harris, a really good value for the next couple seasons. The other running back that I have here, Trey Benson. Yes, the rookie. His ADP right now, running back 17. I have him as high as running back 13, so almost in the running back 1 range. Part of this is seeing all the success that James Conner has had in this offense. And look, last year, he actually led the league in 20-plus yard runs. And James Conner's not a guy that we would consider an explosive player at this point in his career. Trey Benson, with that 40, with that size, with that ability, has a chance to bust off some huge runs long term. And look, once this James Conner stuff is gone, because he is getting a little bit older, it's time to move on. Once James Conner is done and Trey Benson takes over the role, he's going to be getting so much work. These Cardinals are typically willing to commit to 1 back. When we see snap percentages over the past couple seasons, James Conner is always up there towards the top. They're going to commit to a guy like Trey Benson, especially if he can display good things in the receiving game, which he's been talking about. That's been his major focus this offseason. And plus, you have that age. So young, so much ability. Give me all the Trey Benson. I'm willing to take him several spots ahead of ADP. Last but not least, a guy where there's been some recent news, Daniel Bellinger. Yeah, I'm willing to take Daniel Bellinger quite a few spots higher than his ADP. Right now, it's tight end 30. I'll take him all the way up at tight end 19. Reason for that? Darren Waller retired, and I know that we are so excited about Theo Johnson. And look, the dude is a freak athlete, but Daniel Bellinger's been in this offense for 2 years. In his rookie year, he had almost 30% of his games where he had 5 or more targets, and it seems like they really like him quite a bit. This offense was targeting the tight end a lot more last year than they had in years past, and look, they just need some playmakers. Outside of Malik Neighbors, they just don't have a lot of other guys. Give me the big-bodied, consistent tight end that really his rookie season was only derailed because of a freak eye injury. I think they rectify that. He looked good in his sophomore campaign when he got the opportunities and Darren Waller wasn't on the field. So I think Daniel Bellinger is a worthwhile risk late on in your drafts when you're just looking for that throw-in piece, that guy in the 14th, 15th round as a potential upside player. I think Daniel Bellinger is that guy.